baby, I was like, no, I'm not getting any vaccines. The doctors came in, they made me feel like a very bad mother for not doing that, right? I was very pressured.
So this is the first person that wants to debate Dr. Mike about vaccines, and I just want to point out two things here. First of all, this woman has the eyes of a crazy woman. Maybe I'm the only one noticing that, but the way she's staring at Dr. Mike and just looking at Dr. Mike really gives me that impression that she would be the type of woman that would be standing in front of your house at 2 a.m. asking how you're doing with a bloody knife. Hey, what's up dudes? Today your boy GenNot is coming back with a new video on my channel, and I want to talk about the entire Dr. Mike situation that is going pretty viral online. If you don't know who Dr. Mike is, well, obviously he's a doctor. I mean, who saw that coming, right? A dude that calls himself Dr. Mike is a doctor, but yeah, he's an in real life doctor, and he's posting many videos online where he's reacting to medical scenes in movies and saying how accurate it is, and he's reacting to medical stuff. I've seen some of his videos. I think it's pretty entertaining, but recently he was on a show debating anti-vaxxers, and the entire episode was really crazy to me, especially some people in that episode were kind of insane. But before I go into it, I want to actually take a look at the comment of the day. So someone is saying this: I bet money the OG video was satire. I mean, I don't know, man. I really don't know if that vegan teacher is like satire or she's just real. It's kind of hard to say if it's all act or this is really the type of person she is in real life. But having said all of this, let's get started.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Excited to talk about health.
I just had a baby, 7 months old. And, you know, my baby, I was like, no, I'm not getting any vaccines. The doctors came in, they made me feel like a very bad mother for not doing that, right? I was very pressured.
So this is the first person that wants to debate Dr. Mike about vaccines, and I just want to point out two things here. First of all, this woman has the eyes of a crazy woman. Maybe I'm the only one noticing that, but the way she's staring at Dr. Mike and just looking at Dr. Mike really gives me that impression that she would be the type of woman that would be standing in front of your house at 2 a.m. asking how you're doing with a bloody knife. I'm just pointing that out. I mean, I do kind of like crazy women. But second of all, is the fact that it is really risky not vaccinating your own children. I think we have all heard stories about really religious people not doing it, and eventually the baby is passing away. I mean, obviously in her case everything turned out to be alright. At least now, maybe in a couple of years, the baby or the child is gonna have problems. It's kind of Russian roulette, right? You never know what's gonna happen.
And then I had a family friend who had a baby at the same time. It was a few months in, gave vaccines to the baby, and the baby had seizures and has had seizures since. And I've also had a friend who I went on a mission trip with, and this pastor was totally healthy, two young girls, and this pastor literally got a heart attack out of nowhere, and the only thing was he took the vaccine. And there's many cases like that.
I think I'm going to give this woman some sympathy. Maybe people are going to disagree, but I think she wanted to do the best thing for her baby, and she saw a lot of personal cases of people getting sick after taking a vaccine, and she got scared and she wanted to protect her baby. Maybe I'm thinking too positive about this woman, but I'm thinking maybe she gets scared, and I kind of can understand that, but it's still really stupid, because obviously just because someone got sick after he or she took a vaccine doesn't mean there is a connection. It's the same when you hear someone say, oh yeah, smoking isn't that bad, because I've seen personally some dude that is 80 and he smoked every single day a cigarette and he never got lung cancer. Yeah, maybe some people are lucky and maybe some people are unlucky. Doesn't mean vaccines and, you know, the certain diseases afterwards have a connection. Sometimes healthy people get sick. Maybe some people are going to disagree. Doesn't mean there needs to be a connection between the two. I can understand that she's scared, but if you actually look at the situation that she is in, obviously young babies, and especially babies that aren't vaccinated, have a much bigger chance of actually passing away. I don't think I really need to explain that. It is really risky. Even if she's thinking by herself that she is doing the right thing, you definitely expose your child to a much bigger chance of actually passing away. I'm just gonna point that out. But what do you think about it? Or do you think this is a fair argument to be using? I mean, have you seen people that basically got sick after taking a vaccine? Do you think there is a connection between the two? I'm open for discussion, but I do think it's really risky that she didn't give her child the vaccines.
So when we see two things happen simultaneously in healthcare, sometimes we think they have caused one another. But unless we see a pattern of that happening over and over again on a large scale,
Right.
it's more likely that this is just a coincidence of things happening at the same time.
Dr. Mike is giving a pretty solid answer on that. Just because two things seem to have a connection doesn't mean they actually have a connection, if you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes things are just coincidence, and sometimes people have an underlying health issue they don't know about, and obviously it looks like it is the vaccine doing it, but it's actually just a condition he or she didn't know about. Sometimes it happens to healthy people, and the cause doesn't need to be the vaccine itself. Obviously I can understand that it makes you scared if you see someone take a vaccine and a half year later that person legit passes away. I can understand that, but you don't know the entire medical history of that person. You don't know if that person basically had like an underlying issue going on. You need to understand that as well. Sometimes two things don't have a connection.
For example, I have a friend of mine who's a physician who vaccinates children very regularly. And they were about to give a child a vaccine. And before giving the vaccine, the child had a seizure. They went on and had more seizures throughout their life and ended up actually dying at a very young age because of a seizure disorder. The vaccine was never given. Had that happened 2 minutes later, what do you think would have been in the mother's mind and in the father's mind in that situation? Other than, I definitely think that vaccine caused that problem.
Yeah, if that baby basically had the vaccine 2 minutes later, obviously the mother would have made the connection, but obviously it happened before the vaccine, so they discovered that child has basically a condition. I understand that, what I was saying as well. Two things don't need to have a connection. Something I want to point out as well is the entire red flag situation that is going on in the background. So if you don't know, there are basically 16 people, and if half of them are basically putting on the red flag, someone else needs to be talking to Dr. Mike, just so you know the system that's going on. Some type of democracy is going on in the background.
I don't think anyone should just go into a doctor's office and say yes, 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 yes. In fact, I love when my patients question me. I empower them to ask questions. Doctors sometimes get this attitude where they're like, oh, you Googled before coming here? Google search doesn't replace my degree. No, that's not how we're supposed to be. What I get excited about is if you Googled and you have questions, now I know exactly the route I need to take to help you make a decision that's right for you and your family.
Okay,
He's saying that he likes when patients Google stuff, and I kinda disagree on that as well. Like, some people just self-diagnose themselves online and they think they know everything about every single disease because they used Google Chrome. I'm just gonna be real here with you. I think we all know people that think they are a doctor but they just use Google, so you need to be careful here. I mean, obviously the web is a great source of information, but it obviously doesn't replace a real doctor, and you need to be careful what type of information you're finding on the web, because obviously a lot of it is just cap and just crap. I think we have all seen like fake doctors on TikTok and YouTube, or people just giving like really horrible medical advice, so it's kind of 50-50. There's really great information on the internet, but obviously it's a lot of crap as well, if we're gonna be honest here with each other. So just talk to your doctor and do some research online, maybe do both of them, and that's like the best thing in my opinion.
Gates did say something interesting. The next war will be fought with biological warfare. And I think that was raising eyebrows, especially when you look at the Kissinger report, right? For those of you who don't know about the Kissinger report, it's all about pretty much reducing the population of the planet. So I don't know how you can make this claim and really defend vaccines.
It's kind of strange to me because he's saying, oh, it's all about reducing the population, but don't we have like a decline in population, especially like in Western Europe and in America? We all have like really low birth rates, and a lot of people are saying that it's really bad for the entire world that we have like a low birth rate. So it's kind of confusing when he is saying, oh yeah, the government wants to reduce like the birth rate and wants to have less people, but then there are other people that are in the government saying that we need to have more babies. It's kind of confusing, so I don't know what he is on about, but yeah, the entire episode is pretty interesting. I'm gonna put like a link in the description if you want to see it. And I just want to say that I don't think the people in the show are really respectful towards Dr. Mike, because a lot lot of them aren't letting Dr. Mike talk, and he's actually the doctor and he's actually the person that knows what he's talking about. But now I'm gonna take a look at some of the comments. So someone is saying, the only thing I'm taking away from this video is that Dr. Mike is incredibly patient and gentle. I 100% agree. He seems to be a pretty nice dude, and he has respect for the people that sometimes even don't know what they're talking about. They legit say, oh yeah, I knew someone in my little circle that basically got a vaccine and he passed away, and that is my evidence. I think that's just not strong evidence, at least in your boy's opinion. But if you enjoyed today's video, press the like button, get subscribed, and I will see you all in the next video.